Welcome to another episode of the Elegantly Raw Tidbits. What are these tidbits exactly? Well, today they come in the form of questions. It's very important to question ourselves. Why? Because, and you've heard, those of you who've been following me for a while know that I say this a lot because I really see, working with myself and my clients, that this is so true. Most of our thoughts are not our own. We have very few original thoughts. Most of our thoughts are not original. So, how can I say this? And why do I say this? Well, why don't you test yourself? See for yourself. If I hold this up, what's the first thought that comes to you? What's the first thought when you see this? Is that your own unique original thought? Or is that a thought that you find yourself thinking a lot? And where did you get that thought from? What was the first time you actually held that thought? Did you just copy it because you saw it in a film, a movie, heard it in a song? It's something that your family, somebody in your family or your friends, or if you went to an orphanage that they heard them saying a lot. When you look at this, what's the first thing you say or you think? When you see this, what's the first thought? I mean, the very first thought. The very first thought is usually the first thought we thought when we came into this world, and that's probably the only original thought we ever had, unless we had a lot of chaos on the outside of the womb when we were in the womb, and we heard a lot of other really traumatic thoughts that stayed with us in the womb. So it's really important, the words we use around pregnancy, very, very important. So I'm asking you to look at your thoughts, clean them up before you even go that route. When you see this, do you just say mango, or do you say, oh, sugar? Or do you say electrical energy, high electrical energy? Or do you say, oh, healing? Or do you say smoothie? So the thoughts that we think, every thought that we have, every thought that we think, look at all these thoughts that lead to us having eating disorders. Some of us think we're underweight. Some of us think about food all the time. Some of us have a distorted body image. Some of us are eating habits constantly. We play those down or we play those up because we constantly congratulating ourselves that we eat a certain way. But is that thought yours really? Some of us feel that we're too skinny. Some feel that we only wear size 0. I never forgot the first time when I was ordering something online, a piece of clothing, and it said size 0. And I thought, size 0? But 0 is not a size. How did we get there? Why do we adapt to these things? Why do we adapt these thoughts? Think about it before you start using them and what damage it could do to you, or how can it elevate your life. So, are you feeling really perplexed and just totally sick and tired of thinking about food and just not really sure what to do? Are you the kind of person who constantly is weighing yourself, or you are measuring yourself because you were told you need to measure yourself? Why are you measuring yourself? That is not an original thought. When you were a baby, you didn't think, oh, I've got to measure myself right now, I've got to take some measurements. Or yes, the doctor might have weighed you or somebody in the hospital, but if you're not born in the hospital, you were probably never weighed. What did it matter? Are you constantly weighing yourself? And where did this thought come from? Is it something that you really want to do authentically, or were you told that you need to weigh yourself and you need to look at this number on a scale or this number on a tape measurement? If you're feeling frustrated and just totally sick and tired around food, and you feel like, I just cannot do this anymore, you're in the right place. What I'm saying to you is that what you say to yourself matters. What you think matters. Your language that you use around yourself matters. And I am saying, change it if it's not working for you. If your life is not manifesting the way that you wish it to, or you're not liking it, change your language. It's that simple. and that easy. Now, is it easy to change one language? No, because it takes practice, which is why that's the first thing I do with my clients is I work on changing their language. So I do this through this a lot of work with nonviolent communication. I would suggest that you start reading Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication, or do what I did was study NLP, Neurolinguistic Programming, or study linguistics, which is also what I did. And be aware that your thoughts really magnify your life and determines not only what you think of yourself, but what or who you attract into your life. So have a look at this. What's the first thought you think when you see this? Or the first thought you think when you see this? Just this is just a little test for you, a quiz for you to know yourself. The first thought when you see this, or this, or this. What's the first thought you think when you see that? Or the first thought you think when you see this? You see, our first thought is really, really important. In the Zen tradition of the teachings from the Buddha, there's a thing called first thought. And it's really important to understand what that is, because that determines so much. The first thought we get every morning when we wake up is very important. What you say to yourself first thing in the morning describes exactly what your experiences of the day will be and how you'll respond to them. The last thing you say at night is your last thought, and very much determines the first thought, either when you wake up back in this body or in the next life. So it is critical to think of the first thought and be mindful of your thinking. I'd like you to do an excavation of your thoughts. Repeat this over and over, the exercise I just did with just popping up different photographs in front of your head and seeing the first thought that arises, or just, things like this. When I did this, what's the first thought that comes to your head? What's the first thought that comes to your mind? And does it have any kind of pathway to the heart? Does it reflect what you'd like your heart to be reflecting? When you see this, what was the first thought you thought? Do you think, no, too fattening? Because you have no idea what is in this. So it's really important to realize that our thoughts are just that. They're just thoughts. And then we make them into massive belief systems, and then we get very, very attached to them. And it's in the attachment where our misery lies. So detach yourself from your thoughts. Monitor your thoughts. Really question every thought that comes up and ask, is this an authentic thought? Is this really my thought? Or did I just simply use somebody else's thought to direct my own life? So I invite you, if this is of any assistance and you want more of this, the only way I know if this is helpful to you is if you click the thumbs up button or you subscribe and click the notification button, because that is what I use to know whether I should continue with this or not. So thank you for being here today. Please share this if you think this will help others as well. And please share your own thoughts below, because I'm very interested in your thoughts, your own original thoughts about what you heard and saw here today. So until next time, be well, be mindful, and please click the